morning, children. You are in 11th standard now. I welcome you all to the 11th standard, and I wish you that you will get better marks with the new study and with some better hard work this year. And I just begin with the chapters of English language for you. You must have understood rules and regulations of these online classes, online videos, which you must have been received by Mrs. Ekta Williams, that we shall take your attendance daily and we shall see who is watching our videos, and we have to put the attendance in the register and we have to send the feedback to the school. So this is Hornbill's first chapter, Portrait of a Lady, and it's been written by Khushwant Singh, who had been the editor of the Hindustan Times, New Delhi. So this is the part of his autobiography. The lesson has been made out of it. So I just begin with that. First of all, I'll just talk about the author. The author is Khushwant Singh. He was born on 2nd February 1915, Hadali, Pakistan. And after the partition, he came back to India and settled in India. And he died on 20th March 2014 and in Sujan Singh Park, New Delhi. His wife, Kaval Malik, from 1939 to 2001, she had been with him, and he has taken the education. He studied in GCU, Punjab University, King's College, London, the Dixon Poor School of Law, St. Stephen College, and he had many awards. He was awarded with Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Ratan Award, and many more. And this is the picture of Khushwant Singh. You can identify him by looking at him. And he was an eminent writer, an eminent poet also. So now I just begin with the chapter, Portrait of a Lady. The Portrait of a Lady is a part of autobiography by Khushwant Singh. In his story, the author draws a pen portrait of his grandmother. He beautifully unfolds their relationship and how it undergoes several changes. In other words, the story is a loving tribute from a grandson to his grandmother. The story gives a picture of human relationships. It is a realistic account of how the grandparents give all their time, attention, and love to their grandchildren. I talk about the characters, and there are only two characters in this story. One is Khushwant Singh itself, that is the writer, and grandmother. If I talk about grandmother, then Khushwant Singh's grandmother is described as an extremely religious person. She was a very kind lady. She was short, fat, and slightly bent. Her face was wrinkled, and she was always dressed in spotless white clothes. In the village, she took care of all the needs of the author when he was a child. And another character is mainly Khushwant Singh, the author himself. He recounts his childhood days and his relationship with his grandmother. This part of the autobiography, the chapter itself, is divided into three main parts: early childhood, his adolescent age, and after that he went to study in London. These are the three main parts of this story, and sometimes you may be asked in the examination about these things. So these are the parts of the story, and now I just begin with the summary in brief. The author remembers his grandmother and grandfather. The author recalls his grandmother as a very old lady. For the 20 years that the author had known his grandmother, He had found her old and wrinkled. You can easily understand this thing that you have not seen your parents' childhood. You see your parents as young ones, not the very little children. So this is same with the Khushwant Singh, that he saw his grandmother in old and wrinkled face. It was hard for once been young and pretty, and she had had a husband. Khushwant Singh's grandfather's portrait hung on the wall of the drawing room. He wore a big turban. His clothes were loose. He looked at least 100 years old. Looking at his portrait, one could not imagine him in his youth, when his wife and children. So her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. Her slight silvery white hair was scattered over her wrinkled face. The author remembered her hobbling around the house in spotless white clothes, with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop, the other hand busy counting. Stoop, you understand that stooping means slightly jhuka hua, some this kind of bent basically. Stoop means bent. From backside you must have understood that what is stoop. And the other hand busy counting the beads of her rosary. You know rosary? A rose petal or rosy fibrous material is tucked in that bead, and all beads are bound together with the thread. That is called rosary. So they are generally for mantra jap and all. So this is rosary. Her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. To the author, she could never have been pretty, but she reflected a divine beauty. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains. The author's childhood with his grandmother were good friends. His parents left him to stay with her when they shifted to the city. In the village, his grandmother took care of all his needs. She was quite active and agile. She used to wake him up in the morning and get him ready for the school. She said her morning prayers in sing-song manner while she bathed and dressed him, in the hope that her grandson would learn them by heart. The author listened to the prayers because he loved her voice, but never bothered to learn them. Then she would fetch his wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with it yellow chalk. She would take an earthen ink pot and reed pen and tie them in a bundle and hand it to the author. After having thick stale chapati with little butter and sugar spread on it for breakfast, they used to leave for school. The author's grandmother always accompanied him to the school, as it was attached to the temple. The author at school, the priest taught children the alphabet and the morning prayer. The children sat in 2 rows in veranda. They would sing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. While the author learnt his lessons at school, the grandmother would read scriptures in adjoining temple. On their way back, they would feed stale chapatis to the dogs. The turning point in the relationship of grandmother and the author. The turning point came in their relationship when they moved to the city to stay with Khushwant Singh's parents. In the city, the author went to an English medium school in a motor bus. The grandmother could not accompany him to the school, as there were no dogs in the streets. The grandmother took to feeding the sparrows. As the years rolled by, they saw less of each other. In spite of her immense interest in his studies, she could not help him in his lessons as he was learning English, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principles, and many more such things which she could not understand. And this made her unhappy. Sometimes she would ask him what the teacher had taught him. And grandmother distressed and disturbed. When the relationship faded a little bit, then she became disturbed and distressed. Grandmother didn't believe in the things that taught at the English school and was distressed to learn that there was no teaching about God and scriptures in the school. Moreover, she was very disturbed at the idea of music lessons being given at the English school. To her, music had lewd associations, and she considered music to be unsuitable for gentle folk. The snapped. The common link of friendship between the author and the grandmother was broken when the author went to the university, was given a room of his own. The grandmother accepted her loneliness and rarely spoke to anyone. All day long she sat spinning the wheel and reciting her prayers. Only in the afternoon relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. Sparrows perched on her shoulders and some even on her head. But she never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. Now the author leaves for higher studies to London. The author decided to go abroad for higher studies for 5 years. He was sure that his grandmother would be upset at his departure, but she would not. She was not even sentimental. She came to the railway station to see him off. She showed no emotion. She was absorbed in praying and counting the beads of her rosary. Silently she kissed her forehead, his forehead. The author thought that perhaps it was the last sign of his physical contact between them. The grandmother celebrates the author's return, and after that she falls sick. After 5 years, the author found his grandmother at the station. When he returned, she held him in her arms. He found her more religious and more self-contained. He could not hear her reciting prayers. Even that day, the happiest moment of was feeding the sparrows herself. However, something strange happened to her in the evening. For the first time ever, she did not pray. Instead, she collected the woman of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing songs of homecoming of warriors. They tried to persuade her to stop, avoid overstraining herself, but she didn't listen. She fell ill the next morning. Now, this is the last part of the chapter where the grandmother's death took place. The grandmother was diagnosed with a mild fever by the doctor, but she insisted that her end was near. She told everyone that she did not want to talk to anyone and would rather spend her last moments praying. She ignored everyone's protests and started counting the beads in her rosary while praying. After a short while, the author noticed that his grandmother's lips stopped moving and the rosaries fell from her lifeless fingers. She died a peaceful death. She was covered with a red shawl, and the sparrows, when the author and other came to take away the grandmother's body, they met a strange sight. To mourn her death, a lot of sparrows had surrounded the grandmother's body. They were all silent. When the author's mother offered the sparrows some beads, bread, they refused to eat and quietly flew away after the grandmother's body was carried away for the last rituals. So, dear children, these are the main points which I am going to share with you. When the author Khushwant Singh was a little child and all, these are some main headings or main points of the chapter which you have to read and go through the chapter, and I just recommend you that you go through the book, read thoroughly each and every single word, each and every line. You'll understand the chapter thoroughly. Then you will be able to give the answers of English language. Otherwise, it's tough for you. So I just wish you happy learning. Best of luck. Have a nice day.